Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, and obviously right now in the summer of 2022, economic struggles are kind of back in the fore, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. But before I talk about or ask you about that in particular, I wanted to tell you something that I was looking at and I was surprised, and I kind of want to ask you if you were surprised about this too. So, one of the things that I wanted to look at was what are people Googling for these days in terms of financial help? And I found lots of questions about very specific things. But one of the things that I noticed that was lacking is the term recession in individuals' Google searches. And the funny thing is, as someone who works in the industry and someone like you, I feel like we can't get away from seeing headlines about, is the recession happening? Are we already in a recession? Is the recession predicted for next year? It doesn't matter. And, well, what will happen and how do the markets react? And like recession, 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 everyone talks about it. But as I was thinking about it, why aren't these showing up in individual searches? And does the individual consumer, when you get down to the person level, do they care whether or not we're in a recession? Or is it just more about, how does that affect me? Would I care if I'm searching for a financial solution, care whether we're in a recession or not? Is that maybe why that's not showing up in individual search results? It was just kind of an interesting phenomenon I saw. I don't have the answer for it. I kind of wanted to throw it out to you as a financial wellness expert as well, and just kind of get your thoughts on that. Doesn't seem to be a term that people are really searching for.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought there, and that's a very interesting thing to come across or not come across, I guess.
Yeah.
And you're right that we're sort of just waiting. I mean, I'm just waiting for it to sort of officially be declared. It just seems like it's inevitable. But maybe I do think one aspect that again I've seen over the last decade that has been a part of most people I've connected with is just sort of a lack of planning, a lack of preparation. And so both on the front end of a big change, something, that like a recession that would sort of impact somebody's life. So sort of lack of wanting to face that until it really is happening. So not preparing, not even really thinking about it. And then I would even argue, probably sort of not able to really realize that it's happening when it does happen. I think there will be a lag time on that side too, until it starts to directly impact something in your daily life, whether it drives up prices, your investments go down, maybe you wait till you get that, quarterly statement in the mail to realize it because you're not actually looking. There's just like a real lack of paying attention or caring or planning that is happening there, both on the front and the back end. So I think there's a lag time kind of in both cases for people. I also think that we've had a nice run here. The market's had a nice run here for the last 10 plus years. I think I entered the workforce and I think we were kind of just around coming out of the last sort of downturn. And so it really, for a decade at least, right, it's been growth, growth, growth. And even when there's been, I mean, for 5 years, probably the last 5 years, there's been a thought that it kind of make a turn. It could become a recession, and yet it's just continued to rebound, continued to go up. The market's gone up. So I think there's a little bit of a questioning there for maybe somebody that's maybe a little more in tune with what's happening economically, where they may just go, oh, they said that last time, and now it turned around. And then I think kind of just bigger picture, the message from financial experts, advisors who kind of want you to think long term is that on average the market has gone up over time. So there's like this mentality that just sort of ride it out, don't pay attention, and that might be a bit considered a little bit more of a savvy person where they're thinking longer term, especially if we're talking about retirement assets. So I think there's a lot of different factors going on. I'm not honestly super surprised because I think for most people it just comes down to, does it impact my day to day? Until it really starts to impact my day to day, unfortunately, there's not as many people really paying attention to it or caring about it. So, and I'm guilty of that
Yeah.
too. I mean, I'm not saying that, it's just the people out there. I think all of us to some level can only handle so much. And so with the tumultuous last few years here, I can see why people maybe just want to avoid another negative topic.